What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 524, where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a special guest joining this episode, and that is Siena Heights wrestler Sam Perez. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining. I appreciate you joining. I know that you're probably towards the end of either your semester or maybe it's over. I know some schools are over at this point, but how's things been going at Siena Heights?
Things have been pretty well, surprisingly, even though the school's kind of closing down.
Yeah.
Um, the experience has been pretty neat. I mean, there's not many people, but it's still pretty fun. Still living, I guess you could say, the college experience, just the wrestling team, hanging out with them most of the time. A few others here and there.
I was just gonna say it has to be a little bit of a weird feeling to be at a school that's shutting down after this year. Is that just kind of like the experience that you've had so far? Obviously, having the team probably helps, but it probably has been a little unusual, kind of knowing that hey, this is the 1 year you'll get.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the way I'm looking at schooling and stuff is a lot different because I mean this year's kind of like a scratch year
Yeah.
in a way, not for sports obviously because I have to go out there and perform so I can get picked up by another college, but for like anything else like academics, it's more of like just kind of like a scratch year, kind
Yeah.
of just figure whatever out.
Yeah, it's just again, like you said, you want to obviously get better. You want to do good enough in wrestling that you get an opportunity somewhere else, but then everything else is just kind of like trying to like learn, trying to just get through the year for the most part.
Yeah, 100%.
But how's just wrestling been going so far? Obviously, I know this is the 1 year you'll be at Siena Heights, but has it been going pretty decently well? I know this is your first year in college wrestling, so it's probably been a little bit of a learning curve, but has it been going pretty decently?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely been a huge transition for sure. Overall, it's like you go through high school and they teach you attack, you know, and like always pushing the pace. But then when it comes to college, you want to push the pace, but you also want to be patient and kind of wait for that opening. So
Yeah.
the it at first it started off a little rocky because I felt like I had to prove myself, and which I didn't. Uh, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone, and that's kind of something I figured out on the second tournament. Then I just kind of started letting things go and just looking to absorb all the information and all the different techniques I can learn from different coaches along the way. And
Okay.
you know, it's a big adjustment because now I'm starting to see the growth from how I was just by like 2 weeks, by 2 weeks
Yeah.
of how I was performing to the difference of now, you know?
Is that kind of difficult to go through though? Because obviously in high school, being out in California, I know there's quite a bit of like guys that wrestle. I know it's a pretty big wrestling state overall. Obviously, you had success out there. Was it difficult kind of coming to Siena Heights, learning a little bit more about like the way to wrestle in college and maybe kind of going through a little bit of a time period where you struggle and maybe you're not necessarily used to that as often when you're in high school?
Um, Honestly, I would say no
Okay.
because for me specifically, my freshman year, so I wrestled like my whole life wrestling. I grew up wrestling, but I never
Yeah.
really took it serious. It was more like
Okay.
a kid playing baseball and like pop like little league, He's just
Yeah.
doing it for fun. Then I got to my freshman year, I got my butt whooped all year, and then I finally I spent like 3 summers straight from freshman year to junior year. I've just not stopped wrestling, and it was just I had to basically play catch up, and it was
Okay.
definitely a similar situation. And now I'm a little more knowledgeable, so it's a little easier.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of similar situation.
So, what changed your freshman year? You mentioned that your freshman year, you kind of got your butt kicked a little bit. Was it really that kind of got things going for you in wrestling, kind of wanting you to put in a little bit more time, or was there like a coach or teammate that really kind of made it start to click where you're like, hey, you know what? I was approaching it this one way prior to that, but then after freshman year, it was like, okay, let's go fully in on this sport.
If I would say, so my freshman year, I only won like 3 matches at the varsity level. I won JV because,
Okay.
but at the varsity level, I could only beat this one kid like over and over again. And then um when it came down to the tournaments where if you keep winning, you move on, I ended up
Yeah.
losing to the kid. And that's when I was like, I'm done with like I didn't want to wrestle anymore. I was burnt out, wanted to quit, just wanted to play baseball because I originally I loved baseball.
Okay.
Because this was all after COVID, so there wasn't much time for wrestling due to
Yeah.
how much contact it was. And then I didn't even want to wrestle in the off season. That wasn't even in my mind. But my sister, who is 2 grades above me, made it to state that year.
Okay.
And so my dad wanted to help her get better so she can make it to state again and get
Yeah.
further. And so she didn't really have anyone else but me to practice with. So my dad gave me an option. Not really, but he
Yeah.
made it seem like he gave me an option. He just said, you can either not wrestle anymore and wait till next year and just keep getting the same, like keep getting your butt whooped every year, or you can come with your sister, be her throw dummy, and pick up a few new moves. Turns out I was a throw dummy, but I did not pick up any new moves. I just did the basics all over again, and
Okay.
it was more of just it went from me wanting to quit to me wanting to compete with my sister and be better than her, and then it gradually changed. Like it was no longer a competition of me with someone else. It was just more of the beneficial fact of me being better as a person.
So basically, kind of like the competitive drive between you and your sister was kind of a big, really launching point for you of saying, hey, like either I'm going to be a dummy for my sister and she's going to throw me around, or I'm going to need to get better so then I can put in more time, get better in the sport. And it really seemed like kind of that connection between you and your sister kind of pushed you wanting to get better and kind of enjoy the sport a little bit more.
Yeah, that definitely was the starting point. But I will say it wasn't as friendly as it seems. It was more of
Okay.
I'd hate to say, but it was more of an egotistical thing where I wanted to be better just to prove that she sucked. which
Okay.
which is like genuinely it's not a good thing to think, but
Yeah.
at the time it was just like I'm the brother, I'm the dude. I can't get beat by a girl and I have to be better.
Yeah.
Like this is my sport. And this was only her fourth, fifth year doing wrestling compared to me, and that was kind of
Okay.
for me. It was like, yeah, no, no, that's not going to happen. And then obviously it transitioned.
Yeah. So were you guys a wrestling family? Like, did your dad wrestle? Did anyone prior to you wrestle, or were you kind of the one that started out and then your sister ended up joining a little bit later on?
So my dad started wrestling in high school, or he actually started
Okay.
in middle school. Then my 2 oldest brothers wrestled. My oldest sister did not, but all the other sisters did. And then
Okay.
so I'm the youngest, so I was the last one in high school. And it originally was just us boys wrestling because my
Yeah.
dad at the time girls wrestling wasn't a big thing.
Yeah.
And then one of my sisters in high school, she convinced my dad to let them wrestle, and then everybody just started kind of
Okay.
it was an ongoing thing through our family. Like a lot of our family members wrestled, and it just kind of leaked into all of our sports.
Yeah, I was just going to say wrestling seems like it's one of those sports that's like a big like family thing. Wrestling and swimming kind of seems like the two winter sports that are really big family kind of part of sports. Like if a parent kind of does it, the kids typically do it. If one kid does it, the rest of the does it. But you did mention your older brothers wrestled. Have you ever beaten any of them in a wrestling match? I'm sure you guys probably have wrestled each other at least like maybe not like in a like a practice, but I'm sure you guys probably wrestled against each other at some point in your life.
Yeah, my oldest brother, no, because he is I want to say he's 30 something. He's in his early
Okay.
30s. He's a lot older than me. He was actually, um, yeah, I think my dad was in his 20s when he had him, and then my
Okay.
second oldest brother, he's 7 years older than me. So yeah, we did wrestle. First time I challenged him, didn't go so well. Like
Yeah.
I was still learning, but the last time we wrestled, yeah, I whooped him clean slate. Like
I was just gonna say there's probably no better feeling than being your brother in wrestling in the sport that both of you do.
yeah, yeah. The difference was I took wrestling. So me and my sister take wrestling the most serious. Like we're the best when it comes to wrestling because we took it to another level.
Okay.
My middle brother, the one that I beat recently, he was more of I want to be good at everything, you
Okay.
know. So
Yeah.
it was he's just he was a natural athlete. Like I will say that he was a natural athlete. So, it was easier for him to pick things up.
Yeah.
But for me, definitely had to work at it. And then yeah, beating him definitely was a little satisfactory. But to me, it wasn't like an ego driven thing, you know. It was just a friendly banter.
Yeah. Just so that you have like bragging rights, or just so that you can like again like banter back and forth. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm better than you, but it's just kind of like that brother kind of rivalry a little bit.
Right. Right. And it's more of because I grew up watching him wrestle. We've never wrestled because I was always younger.
Okay.
And then having that is like a connection, like, dude, this is what we missed out on, and it's
Yeah.
fun. Like you can finally see each other. Like my whole family loves watching me and my sister like grow in wrestling because it's like it just connects. Wrestling is,
Yeah.
I'd say, is one of the sports where the way it connects people is way different compared to any sport.
Oh yeah.
I Yeah, it's big in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those sports that like there's some like bonding between anyone that truly wrestles. Like if like you can probably have some sort of like connection or some sort of like familiarity with what another wrestler went through. It's just kind of like that common like if someone does the same sport as you, there's a little bit of like a connection between the both of you because you understand like the struggle you had to go through, like cutting weight, having to wake up early for wrestling tournaments, going through all this. Like it's just kind of different compared to like people playing football, playing basketball. They might have similar experiences, but wrestling kind of goes a step further regarding that.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think it's more of the aspect of it's individual, you know.
Yeah,
Because like you said, the other sports they have obviously they have to do some sort of work to be the best, but I feel as if it's different when you're out there by yourself and the accomplishment is more rewarding because it's you did that, you know.
yeah,
Like you don't have to rely on teammates. I mean, yes, you need teammates to get better and drill, but when you're out there wrestling those matches, it's the it's more of the journey that people can connect to. Like you said.
yeah,
It's the weight cutting, the hard practices, waking up early for tournaments, or even waking up early to run, I'd say,
yeah.
or like getting a workout in, that's where it gets difficult, you know? And the understanding of that definitely connects people.
Yeah, and like having to do like the trash bags. I know that's a popular thing, like wearing like trash bags. I don't know. I'm assuming that's something that you probably have done or people did in California. I know they do that at least in Michigan, but like that's part of it. It's just kind of the familiarity of it all, of going through like the suck to in order to get better.
Yeah, I've definitely tried every version of weight cutting. And yes, trash bags, I would say, is like the lowest place I want to go. It is not
It
fun. It is
yeah,
you it's scary, honestly. Because you could suffocate. And I'd say
yeah,
when I was younger, I could like beginning of high school years is I could throw three sweatshirts on, like two pairs of sweats, trash bags underneath, and like I'd be fine. Now it's like I don't even want to. I could barely even layer up. Like
yeah,
I feel like I'm suffocating. I don't know if it's I don't think it's mindset. I think it's just you get. I think it's like you're more knowledgeable in how to weight cut, so obviously you're gonna. And the practices get harder. You know,
yeah,
college practices are difficult compared to high school because it's no longer like you're learning. It's more of you're also getting in shape, and that's the main focus.
Exactly, and it's one of those things like you mentioned, like when you're younger, all you think about is like, "Hey, I need to get to this weight any way possible." But then obviously, the more you do it, the more you learn, the more like if you eat right, if you do this, if you train harder, stuff like that, like obviously it's going to help you a little bit more just doing it the right way than maybe like what someone would do at a younger age, or if they're trying to cut a ton of weight as well. I'm sure there's probably people that still cut a ton of weight that still do those types of things, but it's about doing it the right way now, which is something that takes a little time to get used to.
Yeah, definitely, and it's for sure a mindset type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's disciplinary because it's easy to rip all the clothes off and try and just when it gets a little too hard, and or even to give up. But
Yeah.
it's just you got to be strong up there, and that's definitely not saying now my mind got weaker, but it's definitely just one thing I want to avoid as a whole.
Exactly. And it's one of those things that, like you mentioned, the longer you're in a sport, like the more you learn, but also maybe again, like you kind of go through some times of like ups and downs. Sometimes you'll go through times where like maybe you're not wrestling as well, or maybe like it gets a little bit old. Like it's about having kind of that mental toughness to get past those points to get to a weight you need to go to able to wrestle. But like, did you ever imagine yourself wrestling in college? Obviously, I know you took it a little bit more serious after your freshman year going into sophomore, junior, senior year. Was it truly kind of your senior year, junior year where you're like, okay, like I see myself maybe possibly doing this?
I would say at first, no. At first, I had no intentions of going to college in general because,
Okay.
I mean, honestly, realistically, when it comes to being financially stable and stuff, college as has been like known as it's the longer path to make money. But
Yeah.
if you're looking to like get ahead and jump ahead, a lot of people just like do sales, maybe entrepreneurship, stuff like that. So no, it 100% was
Okay.
not the first um take of what I wanted to do. And then I guess what changed my mind was it was genuinely my dad and my club coach. My club coach helped me because he really like he would help me reach out, and
Okay.
then he'd give me the push. He'd be like, "Here, look, now that you're getting older and you understand what to look for, I'm not gonna help you. You got to do it yourself." And
Yeah.
then, I started reaching out, started bugging people, and connections is key, and that's something I learned is connections are key.
Yeah, and
So
connections is key in life in general. Like I'm sure that's going to be something you continue to learn. I'm sure you have connections now that you have obviously in the future, but how do you end up in Michigan at Siena Heights, a small school in the middle of Michigan? Like how do you go from California to here?
originally, my sister went to Siena, and
Okay, that
so
makes sense.
I went to visit her, like just visit her, and then I needed somewhere to practice, and I was like, "Hey, I don't know where I could practice if the coaches would let me practice in the room." And they're like, "Yeah, we could do that." Well, I spoke with the coaches, and I was just like, "Hey, I like your guys' program." Like, I don't think it was the original intention to sign. You know, I was
Yeah.
still hopefully trying to skirmish around, but at the time it was I wanted to get the whole signing thing off of my head. So when I got here, I spoke with the coaches, we worked something out, and then by the end of the week before I left, they're like, "Hey, here's what we can do for you. I know this wasn't your original like thought process, or we weren't like we they recruited me in a way based off the fact that I visited my sister, I needed somewhere to practice. They liked my work ethic, they liked everything. And the only real reason why I signed is honestly the team's great. Like
Yeah.
the coaches are great. The program's great. Like I'd say the sad thing is I'm never gonna have a wrestling program that felt like this one. And it's sad to say, and I'm also cutting myself short because I'm thinking that there's not going to be another program that's going to live up to it, which I'm still open. Like, hey,
Yeah.
every program is going to be different, but this one is definitely like it changed my life in a way. With the short amount of time, it's definitely I've met great people. I've met guys that on the team that I definitely want to stay in touch with, and just the way I look at wrestling is already morphed.
Is it like the guys, like the coaches, like is it kind of that culture, that chemistry that really kind of stands out? Or like what makes like Siena Heights wrestling this team different than maybe anything you had prior? Because obviously, like in high school, like these are guys that you probably have known for like a long time, maybe wrestled with for a long time. Like at least you had 4 years, but like this is like you visited Siena Heights, had a little bit of time to understand, practice with them, and now this is your year at the school. What makes things so different, so like unique that you say that like this has changed everything for wrestling and why you don't necessarily know if it's going to have the same feel at another program?
It's definitely the culture the coach provided in the room. He definitely said he morphed a new culture because he came on like 2 years ago,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, and recruited. And I genuinely think another reason is we're all young athletes, like fresh. So it's like a
Yeah.
reset. We have a few like seniors, but a lot of them didn't stick around from last year from like other classes or whatever. So we have a few seniors, few juniors, but we're mainly a fresh team. And I think that's something that connects us is we all have the same goal, and it's to get better, and we're not gonna tear each other down. And a lot like none of us have egos.
Okay.
I will say, none of us have egos, and I'd say if I went to a different program, there's gonna be like a few guys that have egos, and
Yeah.
and it's a cancer to the team. But I'd say we all have great chemistry. We all hang out. We barely know each other in the span of a few months, and we're all over here trusting each other. We're like, yeah, hey, you can go borrow my car, or hey, come to a family dinner, stuff like
Yeah.
that, like things you would do with friends that you've known for a while. It's like we met each other for like a week, and we're all super tight. Like we're great friends. We're actually like we're family. That's really how you can put it. Is we're a genuine family. We all take care of each other, look out for each other, watch each other's backs, and it's awesome.
That's when you know you have a good culture, right? Is when you have kind of that family feel of wanting everyone to succeed, of wanting to help each other when people are going through a hard time, maybe when they're not wrestling as well, maybe when they're having a hard time outside of school, like family, stuff like that. Like you never necessarily know exactly what someone's going through, but when you have a culture, when you have a chemistry, when you have a team that feels like a family, it's really great, and it's something that you don't have at a lot of places or a lot of maybe teams have, and it's just something that is unique to kind of be a part of.
Right, right. I agree.
Do you think that made kind of the college wrestling transition a little bit easier? And did you really have like any to quote unquote like welcome to college moments when you first started wrestling at Siena? I know you said the first couple of weeks were hard, and I know you mentioned the first tournament didn't go the way you wanted it to, but did you have any welcome to college moments, or do you think kind of the team chemistry, culture, kind of the family feel maybe made it a little bit easier and maybe you don't have like exactly a one quote unquote welcome to college moment that you're like, that is something I never want to experience again?
I would say the welcome to college experience was more of like I showed up to this school. Obviously, I know an outsider. Most of these guys went to say like the orientation and stuff and met each other.
Yeah.
And it was during welcome week where I ran into the freshmen, like the incoming freshmen of the wrestling program, and they kind of just were like, "Hey, we've seen your face before, like you're a wrestler, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." So they brought me in, and then we all just kind of started hanging out, and then it was just day after, like, because we don't have classes yet. We're here for a whole extra week,
Okay.
and so we just all kept hanging out, and then we all just kind of clicked, like it was just natural, like
Yeah,
There were some guys that were kind of iffy, but I mean, now it's like we're all chill.
yeah,
And it definitely was a struggle at first, the first tournament. I'd say the first tournament, I didn't really have any expectations because, I was like, I'm going into a new world of wrestling and I'm not going to know what to expect. I mean, I went 1-2, and the thing is, I got my first win out of the way. And a lot of wrestlers in college don't even get their win till like their second year,
yeah.
you know? So for me to do that, for me to go out there not knowing what to do, like, not performing in how I wanted. Obviously, everybody wants to win, everybody wants to come out on top, but for me, I felt like I went out there and I took the chance, and I came out with an accolade, and not many people can do that. I'm not saying I'm better than most people, but, I mean, it definitely is um, a hard thing to do and a struggle, and I felt like I was able to fall back on my coaches. So it made it really easy. And that's when I kind of realized, you know, this is the family that I can fall on.
How good of a feeling was it to get your first college win, to kind of get that off your shoulders a little bit, knowing that, hey, in my first tournament, I finally got my first win. I don't have to necessarily worry about that in the next tournament or like when duels start.
So, and for me, winning and losing, I kind of have the same reaction.
Okay.
I'm not really one person I wouldn't say I'm nonchalant in a way, but I'm not really one person to get so heated or like, I don't take matches to heart. Like once the match is over, the match is over. Whether I lose or win, you'll never see me like lash out in a
Yeah.
way. I mean, if I win a big match, sure, I'll celebrate. But to win that match, it was kind of like for me, I just tell myself I belong here. Like
Okay.
I belong here. So getting that first win, I just kind of shrugged it off as normal. And then it didn't really hit me till afterwards. Like after the tournament, it was like because some of the guys were like, "Hey, we didn't even get our college win till this time," or like not everybody gets their first college win. And there definitely was a little bit of stress on me, I guess you could say. So it did
Okay.
kind of relieve it. But in a way, I didn't really feel different.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things of like, hey, like I just kind of get past me, but I'm not necessarily going to celebrate it, but it's just like a cool thing that I don't ever have to like truly worry about anymore. Even if you weren't worried about it at the time, you just wanted to go out there, do your thing.
Right.
Was it pretty cool to kind of step on the mat for the first time wearing a Siena Heights singlet and representing your school and representing your college? Though that had to be a pretty like decently cool feeling, or again, is it more of like, hey, like this is something I've done for years and years and years. I've never really thought about it, took it in for a few seconds.
Um, I would say it was definitely exciting because there's a lot of good high school wrestlers that don't make it to college,
Yeah.
and they don't get the opportunity to. So whether it was Sienna or not, going out there, stepping on the mat, it was just like I'm here. Like this is where I need to be. This is where I belong. Wearing the Sienna gear just felt like I'm finally happy to represent something. Like I've been on club teams, I've been on a high school team, but the feeling of representing them was different because it's not I'm not only representing them, like they want me to win, they want me to like or they want me to just perform. They're not just looking for me to win. Winning's great and losing, yeah, it can bring I guess you could say it brings shame to the name, like most programs think that. But for me it was like going out there and representing them, I was able to be myself. No stress, no harbored feelings, just going out there and saying, "Hey, look, this is my school and I'm going to bring it whatever singlet I wear."
Yeah, exactly. There's not like kind of that pressure on you to say like, hey, like I've known like these guys, but it's not like you have like obviously you have like your school, like you're wearing your school in front of you, you're quote unquote representing your school, but it's a little bit different of a field than going out there on your high school team. Like there's probably a different level of I don't want to say expectations, but there's a different like feel behind representing your high school team comparatively to representing a college team.
Yeah, 100%.
So just how different is I know you mentioned a little bit before about like high school like needing to be like aggressive stuff like that needing to push the pace, just how different is college wrestling, especially at Siena Heights, when it comes to like matches? Like, is it more like technical? Is it more like, obviously it's more like high level, high pace, like it's the best of the best from their high school, but is it like just that dramatically different when it comes to wrestling? Or is wrestling kind of wrestling? There's just obviously better wrestlers than other wrestlers.
I would say it's definitely, the difference is it's more technical, it's more aggressive, but everybody's good. You know what I mean? Everybody knows how to wrestle. Like in high school, every now and then you get um it's the guy's first year or it's the guy's second tournament
Yeah,
or you're stronger than the dude, you've wrestled longer, But when you go out there in college, like it doesn't matter how long you've wrestled, how strong you are, these little
exactly.
mistakes are going to matter. And you just have to wrestle. You have to like do everything perfect. The little things matter. That's probably the most different. Like you can get away with a lot of stuff in high school. And I'd say that's one thing that really bit me in the butt when I came in is there was a lot of bad habits that I had that really got like people capitalized on when they were shown.
Is that really the biggest lesson that you kind of learned? Is like even like the little minute details, like technique wise, like everything matters is just those little things. Because obviously, like you mentioned, like when you're in high school, you're wrestling guys, maybe not having as wrestled long, maybe you're stronger than them. You're probably not going to experience that in college anymore. So, are like the little things, the important details, kind of like one of the biggest lessons you've learned through your couple of months you've been at Siena? Or if it's not, what would the biggest lesson you've learned about wrestling, especially at the college level?
I would say the biggest thing I learned about college wrestling is it's two different sports, if that makes sense. Like high school wrestling, yes, there's levels. There's for sure levels, but going from high school wrestling to college wrestling, it's a whole different spectrum of a sport. And with college wrestling, like little things matter. Like
Yeah,
small details, as in like you could step incorrectly and the guy could just get you on it, or you could put your hand in the wrong place or grab him incorrectly. It's all just it becomes it becomes a faster paced match at a slower speed, if that makes sense. Everything's happening fast, but I mean, you really gotta be patient. You can't just go in there and shoot and hope to get in on the leg. You really have to set it up, create the angles, and you could go the first round going 0-0. Like nobody has to score the first round, and it could have been just like you're just moving or you're just playing the waiting game. Like
exactly.
it's a lot of patience. It's more patient.
Because it's a different like sport, because there's a little bit more patience, but also a faster pace. How much have you grown as a wrestler since getting to Siena? Just how has your style, your technique, how has those things changed in yourself through the sport?
I would say what changed was just kind of sending it in a way. I mean, when I wrestler, but I would say my biggest change was my fluidity in my
Okay.
movement, confident and actually know what I'm like what the outcome's going to be, if that makes sense. Um when I set up moves, I'm not just hoping that something presents itself. I'm actually looking for something. And I know in high school they teach you that, but I mean in reality when it comes to high school wrestling, when you're trying to set up moves, sometimes it doesn't work, but you can still get it.
Yeah.
But in college, it's like if it doesn't work, you have to go to something else, and you can't just stop or hope to get it or hang there and hope that eventually he'll just give it up. Which sometimes it can work, depending on what style of wrestling you are, but for me, I'm more of I like to push the pace and I like to send it, like just send the moves and and just let it flow and being able to let it flow through, like be more fluid in my movement. My hand fighting's improved, my shots have gotten better, and like I'm no longer just becoming this funky wrestler or hoping that I can just out muscle the dude, you know? Like I
Yeah.
genuinely have to get in, finish quick, and get what I like, do what I need to do.
Yeah, you're thinking just beyond like the next step. You're kind of thinking two or three steps. Like you're trying to set things up and you can't necessarily force something that's not there. So then you have to, like you mentioned, kind of go to your next thing or something like that. And I know one thing prior to kind of jumping on here that you talked a little bit about is that a lot of your matches are a little bit high scoring when it comes to like just scoring wise. I think you're first win was pretty high scoring overall. Is that something that you enjoy? Just kind of the high scoring matches, just kind of like going back and forth, having reverses all the time, just continue to have. Obviously, that's going to mean they're going to take you down. That means they're going to reverse as well. But is that just kind of the high pace, high scoring, just something that you enjoy, even though they might take you down or they might still score a decent amount of points on you?
Yeah, I could say I really enjoy those matches is because I'm out there and I'm just like, I don't really care the outcome. That's how you know and I guess you could say it's a good thing and a bad thing, but when it comes to neutral position, I can say my neutral is my best.
Okay.
And I'd say the only reason why it becomes such a big gap in like high scoring or whatever is because me myself, I struggle with riding top and bottom or getting
Okay.
out on well, getting out on bottom I've worked on, but riding top's a real struggle with me. So when I feel like I can't hang like hold the guy down, I know though I can beat him on my feet. Like
Yeah.
that's my confidence is I can beat anybody on my feet. And I don't know if it's just me going out there and just having a little bit of an ego, which I think you need it a little bit when you go out there and wrestle, like to have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the way I was taught was I started with freestyle and freestyle is mainly neutral. It's it's ground wrestling, but not as much as folk style. And I've always just been like, even when I'm tired, no matter what, I gotta score somehow, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of a mindset I've had throughout the last 3 years of
Okay.
wrestling.
And it's just your strength, right? Like you want to play to your strength. You want to do what you do well, and you want to do what you're confident in. And obviously, freestyle's quite a bit different than folk style is. A little bit more kind of rules and stuff to folk style, but that's just obviously a little bit a part of what's like to wrestle in high school, what's like to wrestle in college. I know, obviously, like if you go beyond, I know there's not quote unquote like professional wrestling, but like Greco as well as a another style, but you're just doing what you know you're really good at. And obviously, it's leading to a lot of really positive results, and you're getting better on those things, but you're still working on getting better at other positions or other parts of wrestling as well, which is going to be a huge key to not only this year, but once you continue to wrestle in college somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, if I know I'm strong in a certain aspect, I'm gonna resort to that, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't wanna become such a I wanna be I don't wanna be, in a way, like, predictable. Like I said, I don't wanna be a predictable wrestler, but, I mean, if you know, when we get on the feet, just know I'm coming, and then with top and bottom, there's always even in my neutral, there's always room for improvement, and, you know, sometimes I can score or even if I lose, I just wanna know that I'm in the best shape, and I'm gonna go out there and come at you with everything I got.
Yeah, you're gonna push yourself for the hopefully 3 minutes each specific, like basically 9 minutes. You're gonna push yourself for 9 minutes. You're gonna continue to push, and you're just gonna continue to get better and continue to be competitive and continue to improve this next couple of months as well.
Yeah, 100%.
With the last kind of couple of questions that I have, obviously we've talked a little bit about like what you're good at. What do you want to improve? Is it like obviously you mentioned like you want to get better? There's specific things that you can get better at each single thing that you do. Do you want to continue to get better on your feet? Do you want to focus more on writing the other guy out? Do you want to focus more on being on bottom? Like, what are the kind of the next steps that you want to see yourself get to before the end of this year?
Uh, I would say in major aspect, yeah, riding top and escaping and like hand fighting, creating angles. But one of the main small aspects I'm focusing more on is reaching the flow state and in a way of everybody puts stress on them, and that was probably my biggest thing was I kept putting stress on myself before matches, and it wasn't until like a week and a half ago where I finally like I had a mental flip, like a
Okay.
little mental breakdown, but I had a mentality switch and went out to my next match, let everything go. I didn't come out on top in the match, but I wrestled. You know, like I genuinely
Yeah.
wrestled. If you watch the match, I just and that's something I really want to work on is just letting everything go. Like not having a care in the world of what happens, having nothing to lose. Just working on reaching the flow state and being able to control it.
Yeah, because it's one of those things of like if you're not thinking about anything else, if you're not worrying about anything else, then you can truly just do what you do. And sometimes it does take that kind of mental flip, but it seems like for you, like when you reach the flow state that you're in, like that's when you wrestle best, or that's when you're most confident, or that's when you're not thinking about anything outside of like the match. And obviously, if you're thinking stuff during the match, it's obviously not going to go super well if you're thinking about your moves. It's probably too late anyway. So it's about kind of that flip of a mental mindset that seems like you kind of helped learn a little bit last week, and hopefully you continue that in these next couple of weeks of not only learning but continuing to do it.
Right. I 100% agree. And that's the goal. I'm always looking for room to improve. And you can never be too good at something,
Yeah.
you know.
And anyone can get better. Like even the best wrestler in the entire country can continue to get better. They get tested throughout every single week. You're going to get tested every single week. And because of that, like there's a couple months left to go in the season. I know you obviously have goals, you have aspirations, you want to continue to wrestle beyond Siena Heights, but like being on the last team ever at Siena, being on the last wrestling team, what does it mean to you, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave, or like what kind of legacy as a team do you guys want to leave, like being the last group and saying, hey, this is like it, and when people remember wrestling Siena Heights, this is what you guys want to be remembered for?
I would say I can't I can't speak for the team entirely, but what can I kind of say is whether whatever circumstances we're in, we're gonna when we step out on the mat and whatever opponent we face, we're gonna bring it. You know, that's
Yeah.
just us as a team. Whether you could be better than technique wise, you can be. We're just one thing I can say is we're in better shape.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in better shape, and sometimes that's all you need. You know, you could be the worst wrestler and be in better shape. You know,
Yeah.
you could lack in certain aspects. For me, and as a team, I think we just want to bring it. Like we're just ready. We're here. We
Yeah.
don't care. You know, we really have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
School's closing down. Some of us might not wrestle next year. Some of us might, and we're all just going out there. We're putting ourselves on the line. We're just we got all eyes on us. Maybe not. We're just going out there and we're performing for ourselves.
Yeah, and then you have the family feel of it as a team as well. And like you said, there's going to be some guys on this team. There's going to be a lot of guys on this team that you're going to stay in contact with, that you're going to continue to improve. And also, hopefully, you're able to continue to wrestle beyond this year. I'm assuming that's the goal of you. Like, would you want to stay in Michigan? Would you want to go back in California? Are you someone that's like if I get an opportunity to wrestle, I would go anywhere?
Realistically, I want to move closer back to home. I don't know if I
Okay.
want to be in California because it is highly expensive
Yeah.
financially. but overall, I'll wrestle anywhere, you know? I don't
Yeah,
really know if I wanna stay in Michigan just because it's a little far from home and it's, like, expense-wise to fly there and back for, say, holidays, you know? Overall, wherever I can wrestle and improve is wherever I can wrestle and improve.
exactly.
And then to answer, because earlier you asked about, um, what's, like, the our goal as a team, and then I answered the goal as a team as what I think. The goal for me, and it's kind of just going out there and being just making you remember my name, basically. I guess you could say, like you may not I may not be the best wrestler, I may not, and I know that. I know there's gonna be guys out there that are better than me, but I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna have good sportsmanship. I'll never sit there, you know, talk whatever trash and have an
Yeah,
ego. I'll be respectful, um, have good morals of basically act how I would normally act, you know? And
yeah,
I've always acted like that. Like after matches, I'll say congratulations. I'll be cool with the dude. Like once I shake your hand, it's over. Whatever happens, happens, whether I lose, win. But
yeah,
I'm gonna go out there and I will give you everything I got. And I'll leave everything on the mat. Because when I can step off that mat and say, I did everything I could, win or lose, I know I've accomplished what I needed, you know?
exactly.
And if I lose, then, you know, we're going back. We're going back. We're going back to the room. We're improving. We're not taking it as a loss. We're taking it as a lesson. And then
Yeah,
when I win, um, we take it, you know, like obviously celebrate inside, but we're getting ready for the next match, one match at a time.
yep. Yeah, no, it's just like you said, it's either a learning opportunity or continue to get better, or it's just an opportunity to continue to grow confidence, but continue to focus on the next like task at hand, which would be the next match or kind of the next tournament in general. But it's also about making sure throughout that process, when you step off the mat, or when the final whistle blows or time is called, like you want to be like a good person. You want not really kind of like no matter what happens on the mat, even if it gets a little like heated, like it's about also being a good person, a good sport at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, you know, that's just, I feel like that's more of an upbringing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something like you mentioned, it's something that like you grown up with. It's obviously something that you've been taught, something that you want to continue. And speaking of that, I do want to wrap up with one last question. Because you've
Shoot.
kind of grown up with obviously like like learning about sportsmanship, also like wrestling for as long as you have, what kind of advice would you give to people that want to wrestle in college, but like maybe they have an opportunity far away, like something that your experience, like would you say like go for it, give it a chance, or would you say like if you even have an opportunity, just take it and run with it if you have the right opportunity?
I will say, do not throw all your eggs in one basket. But
Okay.
if you're looking to wrestle in college, you have to reach out. You have to step out. You're not going to be, colleges aren't necessarily looking for the best wrestlers. They're looking for wrestlers they can make a project out of. And I mean, you could go to a college and use wrestling just to pay for it, but for me it was, I was looking for whatever I can get because I knew I wasn't the best wrestler, you know? But the
Yeah.
thing is, the colleges weren't looking for the best wrestler. They were looking for someone they can take and build, you know? Because you can be the worst wrestler in high school and then when you hit college, you're all of a sudden a national champ, you know?
Yeah.
And I think underdog stories are the best. So if you can do that,
Oh
do
yeah.
that. But you have to definitely step out of your comfort zone. You have to reach out. You have to shake hands, exchange names, exchange information, bug people, like, you know, be willing to take the chance to make the leap of faith, you know?
Yeah.
Because in reality, like it is a high competition world out there,
Yeah.
especially since it's a single person sport. But I'm guaranteed there is a college out there that is willing to pick you up. And if wherever it's at, like if you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. That's one thing I know is true. If it's far from home and it's too expensive, anybody can find a way to make it happen. You know, you can get the help you need, you could pull the money together, you can figure something out.
Exactly. And like you were mentioning, like there's some like teams, some coaches that they just want to find the right wrestler to mold into who they want that wrestler to be. And it seems like that's a little bit of like what's happening at Siena Heights is finding the right wrestlers to continue to get better. It seems like it's kind of happened to you, and it's obviously a really good thing.
Right. I'm appreciative for the coaches here because they're willing. I That was the first thing I told them is, um, I'm willing to absorb whatever you have to give, you know, and that's definitely what I'm doing, and it's definitely they're giving me everything they have.
Yeah, and it's going to make you a better wrestler. It's going to make you improve throughout this year. Hopefully, it's going to lead to other opportunities for you. I truly hope you're able to continue to wrestle in college. If that means continuing to stay in Michigan, if that means moving closer to home, I hope you're giving those opportunities. Obviously, good luck the rest of this year as well. Wish you and the rest of your team good luck, and really hope that you guys are able to be successful, achieve some of the accomplishments that you want to achieve. And I really appreciate you joining, man. It's been a ton
Thank
of
you.
fun. Hopefully, you had fun on the podcast. Would love to have you back on maybe in the future. Maybe we can discuss that if you're ever interested. But like I said,
For
really
sure. For
appreciate you
sure.
joining, and hopefully, it was worth your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, and 100%, I for sure would like to look forward to maybe making another appearance, you know,
Yeah.
maybe after season or yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It was great to be on here. I appreciate the questions and yeah, I had a great time. It was great. Thank you.
Uh, Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you again for joining. That is a wrap to episode number 524. Thank you again to Sam for joining, and tune in to the next episode.